Okay. Sorry about that. Had to blow my nose.
Yeah, it happens.
So, yeah, the holiday is. This is just kind of a nice time of the year for myself, and yeah, I like I said, I met a couple guys in Newton that I knew, and so they've been through the same
Circumstances you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I think that having had a few days sober and then actually getting the physical, the DTs was kind of a wake up. It was like, okay, this is really something I probably need to take care of because I'm 53 and this is really not the way I want to keep living. So I think I'm gonna maybe try to take it seriously. So I'm sure it'll make my wife happy. So yeah.
So these people that you got contact information from that went to these meetings, were they people that? Well, I remember from last session, you ran into some people that you knew from high school or right out of high school at these sort of events. Did you get their numbers, or was it just brand new people that you've never seen before?
No, it was people that I knew from the past.
Yeah.
I didn't know that they were in recovery, and so the people that I knew from high school, they were just more acquaintances. So these are actually people that I have a bit of a relationship with, and I was excuse me, I wasn't I don't want to use the word surprised, but I was a little surprised when I walked in and poof, there they are.
Yeah.
And they came up and we just started chatting, and I bought a big book. And I figure, that would be a good thing to have, kind of the instruction manual. So, yeah.
So the big book that you bought, could you describe more as to what the book talks about and what it's called?
Well, it's just called Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh, okay.
And that's what it's termed as. It's the big book.
Big book.
Of AA, and it's basically written in the 1930s and 40s by two. Actually by more than two, but Dr. Bob and Bill W., who kind of the co-founders, and they wrote this book on basically how to get sober, and. They have steps, 12 steps, and they require, they don't require, but they certainly encourage you to get a sponsor,
right? Someone
to help you through.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, it's this has been a funny time in my life, Evan, because it's I didn't expect it to end up here. And, you end up, as I mentioned to you, my wife and I make a pretty good living. Financially we're fine. But there comes a point in time where you're like, this is just not how I want to live life.
Right.
And I've been playing ball for a long time, but I've been thinking, maybe I need to kind of find something else to do. I've had a lot of injuries, and just kind of do something different. And so yeah.
Well, throughout the course of our lifetime, I think our viewpoints kind of tend to change, and the idea of what we want to do, I think that tends to change as well as you get older, and circumstances are different. So with the, I wanted to talk more about the book too. It seems like a very fascinating book, and I'm glad that you are taking your time to look into it. So what are could you name me at least a few of the 12 steps?
Yeah, there's the first one is admitted you were powerless over alcohol and that your life had become unmanageable. And then there's a couple of spiritual steps you take. And then step 4 is where you make an inventory of kind of some of the stuff you've done in your life that you may have regrets about. And then step 5 is you talk to somebody about it. You know, sometimes it's a sponsor. Some people pick a priest. You know, it's almost like a confession.
Oh, okay.
Of wrongs you've done and things that have happened. And I'm trying to remember some of the other steps. I know that.
Yeah, you don't have to remember all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's 12 of them. I just wanted to hear about a few of them. Yeah. Sorry, keep going.
No. That's fine. I know that I can remember 11 has got something to do with prayer and meditation, and then 12 is you just sort of keep it going. Is kind of what step 12 is. You know, having had a spiritual awakening, you practice these principles in all your affairs, and so it's kind of a big deal, and it's I think it's about time to do something different, to do something a little different. So.
Well, I'm proud that you're willing to make these changes in order to better yourself from to your standards.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm very curious to see what will happen after you read more and more of the book. I don't know how much you've read or how many steps you've tried to conquer.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm very interested to see what your thoughts and perceptions and attitude will be after reading more of the book. I'll have to look it up online. It seems very fascinating. I've never heard of it before, and
yeah, they have one in Narcotics Anonymous as well. They have it's called the Basic Text, and so they've got their own book, and there's 12 and 12. I've bought all these books. I figured I may as well go ahead and get them. So, and it's the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, and there's all kinds of recovery. I had no idea that it was as prevalent as it is. I mean, my God, I didn't. I'm like you. I never really knew a whole lot about it. It wasn't until the court said, "Hey, you need to go."
Yeah.
That I really was like, so you think I have a problem, huh? And so when you start to dig into the whole field of recovery, it's really huge. I mean, there's a lot of people in not just in AA, but it's in NA as well, and they have Overeaters Anonymous and
Overeaters. Oh wow.
Yeah, so they have Emotions Anonymous. There's all kinds. So apparently these steps must work because people are using them.
Yeah, it seems like it, and also with you mentioning that the book came out in the 1940s, and with it being relevant even today in 2017, that's awfully impressive.
Yeah, it is, and it's. I don't think much has changed. The way you go about becoming sober is. It's the same as it was then. Nothing's really changed a whole lot. I say that, but then I think there's a lot of new information that's come out. But basic core of how someone gets sober is pretty much the same as it was. Yeah, it's interesting. It's this ought to be interesting. So and I have suggested that my wife go to Al-Anon, which is for family members.
Al-Anon.
Yeah, it's for family members of people who have a spouse or a loved one who's in recovery.
Oh, okay.
And it's support for them as well. It was started by Bill W.'s wife, Lois. So
Sorry about that. Okay. I don't know why that popped up, but
okay. Yeah, so there's, it's the whole recovery community is very, very inclusive. They've got family members, Alateen for kids, of course AA, and then they've got, I'm sure NA's got for kids and family as well.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of those anonymous type groups have those sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of meetings in this area. I was really surprised. I have what they call a where and when, and so that's just a meeting list. And there's like 50 meetings in the area. And,
wow.
That's quite a bit. And then you go
Yeah.
over to Ocean City, and they have the Atlantic Club over there, and
yeah, they even have I believe Ocean City even has a couple recovery houses as well. I'm pretty sure.
Well, I know there's one in Salisbury called Hudson Center.
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that.
That's like the old traditional like 28-day, but of course most insurance doesn't do 28 days anymore. But they don't really pay for it. So if you want that, you're probably gonna have to shell out your own money. So, but yeah, it's bigger than I thought, basically.
Yeah. Well, with you mentioning that there's a lot of these sorts of meetings and everything in Salisbury. Salisbury is a bigger city than most people think, and it seems to have grown in progression throughout time. So your wife is checking out these sorts of groups for her?
Well, I have suggested that it might be good for her.
Yeah.
And she has agreed to at least go to one, just to kind of see what it's like. And so we'll see. We'll see.
And she's willing to do that?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
She is willing to do that. So I guess she figures if she's going to ask me to do it, she should participate as well. It's going to be a big change, though, because this has been a big chunk of my life, for a long, long time. So,
and with that being a big chunk of your life, it's also, in a way, been a big chunk of her life. So, I'm also curious to hear not only about your changes and progressions, but also as to how she'll react to that,
right?
And how supportive that she could be, and I'm curious to hear how she likes those meetings, or at least the one that she'll commit to going to.
Right.
And it's a team experience. Well, you and her.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that when I talk to the guys at the meeting, they really point out that it really is. People tend to think that it's just the person in recovery, but it's really not. It's much broader than that. It's family and
friends.
Yeah. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Yeah, very.
So, but one thing that I do like about it is they talk about taking it daily. Once one day at a time is one of their big mantras, and that's kind of what the focus is. It's not, you're not planning a month down the road or 6 months down the road. It's today, in the moment. So. So that's it.
Well, there's nothing wrong with living in the moment. Sometimes you just gotta take these things step by step, day by day. It's hard to predict what things are going to be like in 6 months to a year. The future is just
Right.
a mystery in itself.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. I think that that it's. I think that's the right attitude. Really, we tend to, focus on years down the road. People plan for retirement, and, and then they miss everything that happens in between. And maybe that's what attracts people to something like this. AA or NA or something like that is that it's immediate. It's here and now, and that's just not where we tend to go, as a society. So, yeah.
Well, those are very good points that you make. So with you getting these, I wanted to go back to the people that you have
Mm-hmm.
gotten contact information from.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been any sort of suggestions that they've made to you, or how are they doing with handling their own stuff?
They both of them have it's two guys, and they both have over 10 years sober, and so they've told me that they'll certainly work with me and try to help out, and so yeah, they like I say, this is all so new, and I'm not sure where it's going to go.
Yeah.
I just really don't know which direction it's going to go, and I seem to have some support.
Definitely.
And the thing is and this is important for me to realize, is I know these two guys, but there are people in there who I recognize as well from over the years. You don't live in this place like Salzburg without.
Yeah, always run into somebody.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. So, I see people, I walk in, it's like, oh, I know him, or I know her.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. So there's a, it's a community, and it's a people who are, trying to turn their lives around, basically. And some of these men and women have done some pretty bad stuff, and that's why they have these steps, is so you work through it. There's actually an organization called Celebrate Recovery, which is more of a Christian-based, and they have steps as well. So, there's all kinds of stuff out there.
Yeah. Seems like you've done your research.
Yeah. Well, I figured I'm not stupid. If I'm going to do this, I may as well kind of get the information. And my wife is very interested in this as well, and she is very supportive. So, we're going to give it a go.
That's totally awesome that you have a great supporter in your wife, and it's especially beneficial that you were expanding your horizons, so to speak, by looking into all these different possible
Mm-hmm.
recovery groups. That's totally awesome because it gives you another option. If
Right.
a certain group doesn't work out, you could try this one
Mm-hmm.
and see how their methods of the recovery process is.
Right.
So I think that's a totally great thing.
I think so. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think, as I say, it's one nice thing is I'll save some money.
Yeah.
So won't be blowing big chunks of money on alcohol. So, so this is kind of a whole new path for myself.
There's nothing wrong with saving money.
No, no, I don't think so.
So with you lowering your drinking intake, has your wife given that attention, and how has she reacted to that?
She's been very supportive. She does know that I had a few beers, and I'm kind of committing myself to stopping.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so yeah, I'm sure she'll be thrilled about that. And I really want to, I have these gentlemen's phone numbers, and so I'll be in touch with them, and I'm supposed to meet one of them this Friday at a meeting. So, yeah, so onward and upward.
Well, the gentleman that you're meeting this Friday, is that a meeting between just you two, or is
No, it's a
okay. I didn't know if you were meeting him privately.
No. We're gonna go to an AA meeting at 5:00 on Friday. So that's kind of a good time. I think they have one there. It's called the Recovery Resource Center, and I think they have one there every day at 5:00. If I'm not mistaken. So, and there's one Sunday morning and Saturday. Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of meetings in the area.
Yeah,
so
you can go anywhere.
Yeah,
that's really awesome that there's a lot of different avenues throughout the city.
Yep.
So it seems like you have a lot of options. You got excellent support from your wife, and it's especially marvelous that you are getting two people to, I guess in a way, kind of have a mentor you a little bit, steer you in a positive direction, and they have the experience of staying clear of alcoholic substances. Well, this session's about to wrap up. I have another client coming in.
Okay.
Probably about maybe 15 minutes, something like that.
Okay.
So it was very nice hearing from you. I'm glad you had a good holiday.
Thank you.
I'm glad that, you're making progress, and it's really great that your wife is supportive of you. I think that's a crucial ingredient to the self-improvement.
Yeah.
And, with all that being said, for the next session that we'll have, I would like to hear more about, you meeting with the two guys that you got contact information from.
Sure.
Seeing, how your thoughts and opinions are once you read more of the book that you were telling me about. And anything else that you would also like to tell me during this experience.
Okay.
So, same time next week?
All right. Sounds good.
Awesome. Have a good one.
All right, Evan. Thank you. Let's see.